board member and creator advocate. Thank you for joining us for this edition of our In the Room With series. And today I'm joined by songwriters, artists, and my daughters, SkyeChristy.
Hello. Hi.
Georgia and Sophie. Georgia, which one's Georgia? Wave.
Georgia. I'm Sophie.
Um, and they're called SkyeChristy because this is Georgia Christy Edwards and Sophie Skye Edwards. So we put Skye and Christy together, all one word, when they started their band. So Georgia and Sophie, I'm excited to talk to you today. Of course, I could go on and on as an introduction, but instead, please introduce yourselves and tell us about your journey with music.
Well, we're so excited to be talking to you too. And we're also so grateful for this opportunity to talk about what we love. And so yeah, we're sisters and we grew up in Los Angeles and we both had been on separate courses in life. I wanted to be an artist, so I went to art school.
And I wanted to be a makeup artist, so when I was 19, I went to cosmetology school, got my license. But then the pandemic hit, things turned around a little bit, and no one really wanted to be getting in anyone's faces doing makeup and stuff.
And in 2020, we both just kind of realized what we were truly passionate about, which was music. And we were both working regular jobs whilst staying consistent on TikTok. We posted 3 times a day for a few months, and eventually it paid off. And we had a blow up, and shortly after we were signed to Warner Records. And since then we've been touring, performing, writing and releasing, and we enjoy every single minute of it. We absolutely love it. And we're actually dropping a single on September 20th called Boy Sober, which is the start of our EP release. So it's exciting times for us.
Thank you, SkyeChristy. That's wonderful. It's so funny me interviewing you.
I know.
Let's talk about like similarities in our journeys, you guys. You know, I just love it that throughout the week I'll be calling you guys and you'll answer, Mom, we're in a session. It's going great.
Yeah.
And then you'll call me the next day and I'll be like, girls, I'm in a session. It's going great. And like we can't talk, but it's just like, I just never saw it coming that you guys would be entering into the same business as me, the music business.
Yeah.
It all did start in 2020 during the pandemic when we're all locked up, right? And I suddenly heard you guys in your bedroom strumming the guitar and like singing these like beautiful melodies. Sophie, you'd been at Otis College of Art, and Georgia, you graduated from cosmetology school, and you were actually working like a special effects makeup artist already, and you even won an award. And so the pandemic kind of put both of those things on hold for you guys. And that's when SkyeChristy was born, using both your middle names, as I said. So I feel like our journey was very similar to mine, basically your journey to mine, in that I thought I was going to be a ballet dancer. Can you believe? When I was younger, I got swept into the music though. Like there was a piano in every room, and I suddenly found myself like pulled to music instead of dancing to it. It was kind of an unstoppable thing for you guys. I think just by osmosis, you picked up how to write songs from your dad and I. I never really taught you, and you never thought that you were not that interested. And I didn't want to push you into going into show business because it's tough, right? And I think all those years of you doing homework in the studio after school, I think you were like little sponges and you just like soaked it all up. And like you, I found myself with a record deal at 22. But wow, like things are so different from when I started out to how it is now. When I started out in music, there was no streaming. So you two have come up in a digital age. What do you know about the changes in the music industry over the last 15 years?
Well, I think I'm so sorry about there's a sound.
Yeah.
Hear it.
Okay, good. Well, I think just watching you guys like in the Avril Lavigne days, like the early 2000s, like everything was about like selling CDs and records, and it is completely different now. It's streaming, everything was very physical, and now it's all just in the air. And it's just a numbers game now with social media, but like music is free, basically, kind
Yeah,
of.
I think that everything that we know about the changes in the industry over the past 15 years, we've learned from you, our mother, and we've watched our mother adapt to those changes, especially with how streaming has affected everything.
Yeah.
And when people ask us what our mom does, we say she's a songwriter because that is what she is. But she taught us that you can't just be a songwriter anymore. And if you want to make a living at it, so you either have to be the artist or the producer. And I also think that social media has given everyone an equal opportunity to try and make it. And I think they leveled the playing field, which allows you to test things out in people while also making connections with your fans and other artists. I think it's changed. I think there's obviously negatives to everything, but there's also positives. So what do you think about that?
Mm. Well, yes, everything has changed. My God. There's no hard plastic CD cases and CDs to manufacture, no storage, no or transportation of all those CDs to the record stores because there are no record stores. Oh my God. With streaming, as you said, it's all in the air. And record labels' costs are really down. And also another thing is I rarely ever make records in a studio with a huge SSL desk like you see in movies about music. It's all done today on laptops and headphones with a little mic in the room. It's very unglamorous. It's not normally done like that way. At least the last 10 singles I've been involved in have all come out of kind of home studio situations. Social media, it used to be that the A&R men, gals, which means artist and repertoire, the person involved in the overseeing of the whole record, they used to be kind of like the gatekeepers to what the public would ultimately get to hear. But now, due to social media, the public chooses who becomes a star, who becomes successful. And I think that's so much fairer than having to go through a label and those gatekeepers. To me, social media is like an old-fashioned movie screen test that actors had to do to show that they were really right for the part. And I feel the same. If an artist can't really step up and do social media, then that's a problem today. And I know when you first started it, you were like, "Oh gosh, this is so hard." And we were all pretty tough on you, on your team, saying, "Well, if you don't do it, you have no career," right? So let's move on a bit and let's just talk about you guys have a manager and a momager, and um, and your manager is Jesse Beer and Lenny Beer from Artist Management. That's the name of their company. How do you describe the role and importance of each?
Oh my gosh, they're all so important.
Yeah.
Well, firstly, our manager is who we turn to with any and all questions. So, we're very close with our manager. So whether it be creative, business, or anything, we ask him. And our mother is our guide. We're experiencing this all for the first time. So she is who we turn to for wisdom. And if something is out of our scope of knowledge, we turn to her. She's a very smart businesswoman and a badass songwriter. So, of course, we do.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
True.
Of course.
And then we have our A&R who sets us up in sessions and helps us with the direction of the music. And we play him new songs and he gives us feedback. He's kind of like our taste man. Like he's got great taste in music. And so when
Jackson Harris.
Yeah,
he's awesome.
He's a beast.
Yeah.
And then we have our creative team. And currently we're working with a creative director who's helping us sculpt our narrative for the EP through imagery and presence. And we're working really closely with her right now.
Yeah, it really takes a whole team.
It takes a village.
For like to get the image, the sound, and everything right. And you can't do it by yourself. You need all the help you can get.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. When you first start out, you were just doing it all on your own.
I can't, it was hard. Yeah.
Yeah, and you really like just, it's like that as someone who's been in the music business in my fourth decade in it, it was amazing to me that I couldn't really help you in any way. I couldn't like open my contacts and have you work with like the biggest producers in the business, because you have to pay your dues in this business. You have to start at the beginning and you have to like really grow as writers. And so now it's nice that you're getting some help from people, just, like creatively with the look and the image, because you had to do it all on your own before. So I'm going to waffle on for a bit about things I feel about management and other things our SONA members should really know about. So management, if you do find a manager, you have to find someone who's willing to be your partner in crime and almost believe in you more than you believe in yourself. Because, you're going to be paying this person 15 to 20%, and they're going to be in your life every day. So you've got to have someone who just really, when you're feeling down, can pick you up and bring cool opportunities to the table. I'd like to talk about PROs. They're performing rights organizations like BMI or ASCAP. And these are people that collect revenue for all the music across radio, television, film, in bars and restaurants and stores when music's played. And it's called public performance. Then I'd also like to talk about like having a lawyer in this business. When you start out, you're probably going to need a lawyer at some point. And most young people in this business, I know when I was young, I was broke and I couldn't afford to pay a lawyer $500 an hour or whatever their fee was. So most lawyers will take a 5% fee of your entire business. Any money that you make, they make 5%. And this is really normal when you're starting out. I think it's really imperative, young people out there, that you understand your contracts and you don't just go, I'll just let my lawyer look at that. That's like kind of dangerous as you grow in the business to not really understand this. There's a lot of legal speak that's overwhelming, but you can sort of get a grasp of it. And I like to use this mantra: never ask your lawyer a question you don't already know the answer to. You should really be up on this business. Probably read like Don Passman's music business book and definitely become a member of SONA. I'll keep saying this so that you can really understand what's going on. But the lawyer's there to help you understand. I don't understand this legal speak. Can you help me with this? And then I also just like to call my lawyer and say, this is what I've negotiated and this is what we're doing. And then he puts it into the legal speak. And then also another thing, you're probably thinking, well, if you become famous like Lady Gaga or something, then 5% of your career is huge. So most people, when they become very successful, they then go and negotiate with their lawyer to still get 5%, but they have a cap on that. So I would say someone like Beyonce, I don't know, I'm just guessing, would maybe say to their lawyer, you can't earn more than 500,000 a year. Once your 5% hits that, then that's done. So anyway, SkyeChristy, let's talk more about the music industry and important things for songwriters and composers. I'm waffling on, I know, but this is all stuff I really
I have one thing to say. One thing I did notice, like just growing up and watching you in the industry, like, because you were always like a very creative, and when you're creative, sometimes you're very dreamy, like you're always in the music, but you became like such a strong businesswoman, like over the years, and it's because you had to, like, so that's just something that's, I think we learn from you that like is so important. So it was really like a wonderful experience watching you just be a real badass in the industry and not take shit from anyone.
Thank you guys. I mean, yes, you definitely have to be tough in this business because it's a lot of people looking to just kind of not give you the right credits and not look after you. And so if you don't look after yourself, it's like,
we're so grateful that you're like, you're always behind us, like lifting us up, and like I know we're not gonna get fucked over. 'Cause
Yeah,
you're-
you have a good team around you. You really
Yeah,
do.
so, yeah.
Jesse and Lenny and Mama Bear in the background, you know. Um, so, all right, let's get serious now
Yes, let's get
about the job of being a songwriter, like Diane Warren or J.D. Souther, who wrote for Linda Ronstadt and the Eagles, and people who are just songwriters. They're not the artist, they're not the record producer. So the job of being a songwriter right now is on the line due to streaming becoming normality. And master ownership is where it's at. So I try and preach this now in my master classes that you are going to have to become a record producer and form a team like I did with the Matrix and or Max Martin did with Sharon. And what you can do is, you know, find a partner or partnership where other people make up for your weaknesses. Like I used to cut all the vocals for the Matrix and comp and tune and consolidate, but I'm not looking to find like drum kicks and loops and stuff. I'm not a tech head, and so I found someone who was really good at that. And then I'm not particularly good at like routining a live band, and your dad was really excellent at working with bands like the Mooney Suzuki, to know about like, you know, amps and miking stuff up. And so find people who make up for your weaknesses and then form a team. If you're just a songwriter, you've got to become a producer. And then, you know, so you're a songwriter who has his own little production team. You find your own young Adele who can sing amazing, and you develop them and you have them signed to you, and then you partner with a record label, and you can step aside and sort of take an ongoing 10% of however long the contract goes on that of the artist once they're signed to a label. But you know, this is ways where you can sort of become an executive and an entrepreneur if you're a songwriter, rather than just going and doing volunteer work, which unfortunately it is right now. You can become the artist, or you can be a producer who has his own little side project like Phineas, right? He makes his own records. So you have to be the artist or the producer today. I'm really passionate about talking about that. So if you only want to be a writer, and there's some people out there who are just like, no, this is all I want to do, then I was talking to Michelle the other day, Michelle Lewis, the head of SONA, and we were saying that you're going to have to go out and do sessions for free at first and kind of stand with the bat and try and hit a home run. And then hopefully you're going to have a few singles that just hit. And at that point, this is where I say it's time for you to start to charge a day rate and points. And if you work really hard for free, basically, you will get there. But as soon as you get there, that's the time when you need to build your own production team.
Right.
So let's get back to the conversation about social media. What do you two find to be the most successful way to build and engage with fans?
Oh,
I was saying that I think you need to be consistent, like every day posting. People need to know that you're there and you're like, because I watch people on social media and it's like the people I watch, I know they're reliable. They're going to be there every day. It's almost like you create a little family on the internet.
Yeah.
And also showing your vulnerable side, even if it's uncomfortable. I was so uncomfortable in the beginning, like sharing my music is about like my exes and, you know, sad things that have happened to me. And I was always very like uncomfortable with like having to share that story, but those stories are like other people can relate to that story, and it's so important for someone else to hear it. And so I think being vulnerable is a really great way to connect with your fans and get new fans to follow you. And like you want people to be invested in you and your life, your story. So I think consistency and vulnerability on the app really helped us.
Yeah. I think that everybody will tell you something different about the algorithm.
Yeah.
Everyone has a different theory about what's going on.
Yeah, like if you post like when the moon hits this time of night,
Yeah,
you will
it's wild.
Yeah, no.
But I think that, you know, you can get into all that stuff and like start thinking about like what times to post things. But I think that for George and I, what's worked best for us is just consistency.
Yeah.
Do it every day. Do it around similar times. Like interact with other people on the app, comment on things, reach out to people. Like interacting with the app, I think is like way more important than people think it is. Like I feel like someone might think that, okay, well, if I post 3 times a day, I'm good. Like I'm doing my job. But I think it's like posting 3 times a day and then really interacting with the app all day, talking to people.
Commenting to people, going live on the app,
Yeah.
reposting things. Like I feel like I don't know what's going on, but I feel like TikTok is watching you.
Yeah, it's watching you if you're supporting your community.
Yes.
Right.
If you're helping them, they're gonna help you. I feel, don't quote me on that, but that's what I think.
Everyone has a different theory, and this is ours. So, you know.
I remember like when Lenny and Jesse first started managing you, and they were like, you got to go on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube Shorts, right? And Facebook, all of them, guys. It's really important, those 4. And you were like, oh, our friends at school. And it's so funny. I meet so many artists who are like, oh, my friends, they're going to think it's cheesy. And then you realize you had to do it. So I'm going to just tell the story, what happened. Thanks to like Sam Short, who we love. Sam Short, we asked her to help us. She's a friend of ours. And she said, like, girls, you got to go every day. And so you did. And it was like maybe 10 views, 50 views, 60 views, 5 views. It was demoralizing at first, right?
Yeah.
Very demoralizing. And then like Lenny kept saying, just keep trying it. Something's going to happen. And I was like, oh God, like, this is horrible. And I wasn't doing social media either, right? I was just watching you poor things have to do it. And then suddenly 500 views, and then back to 50 views, and then 100 views. And you teased a few different songs, and maybe for a year it went on like that. And then one day you teased Alice, and you got 7.9 million views. Yeah. And then you posted another one, 3.9 million views. And then you posted another one. Overall, you got 20 million views on your song, I'm Not Like Alice. And that's how you end up signed to Warner Records.
Yeah. And then you're not so embarrassed about your friends when you're signed.
Well,
right, but independent artists, just the fact that if you keep doing it and being regular, good things are going to happen. And we found that really incredibly hard to believe at first, but it's the truth. And I just got to say, me being in the business, there's just no way I could possibly help you. It's like you have to do it your own. There's no ushering you in a backdoor industry plant stuff. There's none of that. There's nothing I could do. I couldn't call a big name producer and say, and even I didn't produce Alice, Dear Benj, who's dear friend and did all your first stuff. He's like a family friend that you felt really comfortable with. You had to do it yourself. So please don't be afraid. People are doing social media. It will work for you if you're consistent. Let's shout out some people on social media. We feel are people that you've watched to be inspired by, that we love.
Oh, you know who is one of my #1 inspirations? It's Hayden Henderson, who you work with a lot.
He's a badass.
He is a badass. He is the business mind. He's the creative mind. He's really great.
Because I literally say to you girls, follow what Hayden's doing, because there's no one who works harder than Hayden, and Sam Short too, right? It's @by Hayden and Sam Short. You should check those people out, guys.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a bit about community and finding that within the business. So SONA, which stands for Songwriters of North America, is a membership-based trade association, a non not-for-profit standing in the gap for songwriters who are unable to legally unionize in the United States. It's a long story, but we're not allowed to have a union as songwriters. And SONA literally is the closest thing as songwriters that we have to a union. Our focus at SONA is advocacy, education, and community. So what are ways that you two have created or found your songwriter community?
Okay, well, our A&R, Jackson Harris, really helped us. Also, our lovely mother, you've helped us, like,
and our manager.
Yeah. But this year we've really, Jackson Harris has put us in so many sessions where it's just Sophie and I going in. And I said it's like going on 100 blind dates. And you don't know if it's gonna work. You're kind of nervous, like you gotta flirt a little, not like that, but like you gotta like see if things are like there's a connection with someone.
Yeah, how's the banter?
Yes.
You know?
And then you have to be completely vulnerable and write a song about your deepest, darkest secrets. So it's such a brilliant exercise to find the right people. And a year has passed now, and I feel like we really know what we like, who we like. Yeah, so I think just like constantly working with different people puts you in a space you never thought you could be in before. I never knew like I could write a song like this or that, and it's all because I've met new people, and my brain doesn't work the same as someone else's, and they just come up with a little melody that blows me away that I'd never think to do.
Yeah. I think that, you know, it can be really easy to become a hermit when you're a musician, especially for George and I, because we're sisters, and
we
also
just like to hang out with each other.
We love writing together, like, and we, you know, we could sit in this room all day and just like, you know, be in our secret little world doing things. But I think that it's so important to get out there and get in the mix and talk to people that you would never imagine yourself talking to. I feel like it can, you know, what was I about to say? When you get out there, you're going to meet someone who's like-minded to you, and then they're going to introduce you to their friends and then their friends, so on and so forth. And I think that that's just so important. And also like our A&R guy, Jackson Harris, the way that he made those connections that he's connecting us with is he goes out there. He's like, I went to a show that night. I've been to like 5 shows this week. He's just constantly making those connections. And I think that that is so key for that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. It's so funny doing exactly the same thing as you, my mini me's. I find that we, when you start a session, like it'd be very easy to rest on your laurels and only work with the people that you love because you know you've written songs with them before. But we've talked about this. I'm like, it's still good to go out on those little blind dates because you just don't know what's going to happen. You just don't know. You could meet it's Phineas, you know.
People have a crazy idea you would have never thought about yourself because their brain is just different from your brain. You're just like, oh.
Now let's talk about this, you know, guys. I'm sure anyone who's watching here, like you're songwriters, you know what you're doing. But I think it's funny that even at my age, 4 decades in, and you beginning to a couple of years in, right? Yeah. Songwriting sessions pretty much the same thing. You show up around 12 noon, 1 o'clock. You all have coffee and you chat, and if it's new people, it's like can be really awkward, right? Sometimes it's funny. We were talking about when we meet like a very shy person, it's actually easier for us because we're quite shy than if you meet a great big personality. And so you've got to kind of figure out that person and then how are we going to create together. And you know, my thing is to always just be so open-minded because they're likely to be very, very talented. So I'll kind of shut up a bit and just treat myself as like a butterfly catcher. And I'll be like, wait till I hear something that they're doing that's so amazing. And I'm just like, boom, that, ooh, that title. And I'll like pull it all together. And I'm very good at organizing and kind of song doctoring. And then sometimes, right, isn't it funny when you suddenly get a session where it's not going to be like that at all, and they're a genius instrumentalist, and it's really going to lay on you to come up with the melodies and the lyrics that day and start the song off and guide the whole session. And so what I like about songwriting is like, you never know what it's going to be. And sometimes it's hilariously bad. And you're like, holy shit, that was a long 6-hour session. But there's always something good that comes out of it, right? There's always like, wow, we've learned that we don't want to start from that.
You learn something
angle.
no matter what. It's
every
like
session you learn something.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. And it's also so, you have to be so vulnerable. Like, I remember like when we first started doing these sessions and I like came in with an idea, which was about a very vulnerable thing. And I like brought in just like a little snippet. I was like, maybe we could do something with this. And they were like, tell me what this is about. And I was like, oh, fuck.
Don't ask
that.
No.
But you're like, it's like you're going to the doctor, you know, to write a song, you might as well, you got to like open up about everything. You can't be shy. Like, you have to dare to suck. And it can be a little strange working with strangers and telling them your private stuff. But I do think it's important to keep stretching, because, you know, like, you evolve and you want to work with different people as you get older.
I call it free therapy because I like a few months ago I broke up with my boyfriend, and the next day I had a session. I was like, holy shit, I do not want to do this session. Like, I cannot stop crying. And so I texted them and I was like, y'all, like, I just want to warn you, like, can't stop crying. I just broke up with someone. They're like, no pressure, but I just want you to know you can come and we will cry with you. And I was like, okay, I will go. And I cried the whole entire time with my glasses on and wrote a great song. And
they did cry with you.
They did cry.
Yeah. And they cried with you.
Therapy. And I didn't have to spend like $150.
Also, just like being able to spend time around like other people who do music like all the time. It's such a blessing because, you know, everyone is willing to be vulnerable. Like, they were willing to cry with us about it. You know, and it's like, that's so cool.
It's so beautiful. I'm going back to like building community again. I always thought it was really fun that you met the guy who produced I'm Not Like Alice in a dive bar on Van Nuys Boulevard. And you came back and said, we found this producer and we think he's really good. And I'm like, who is it? And, you know, it just seemed like I've been to that bar to see you sing like karaoke or like open mic. It was like, oh, it's rough here. And that's where you found kind of the key to the door, because I tried to produce I'm Not Like Alice and I just couldn't quite like touch it. We wrote it together, but I couldn't get it right. And Lenny kept saying, it's not right. It's not right. And then this guy you found at a bar, he nailed it. And that was what went viral. And so you just never know, folks. You got to like just be open to wonderful things happening. Okay, let's look at the
dive bar.
Go to that dive bar, but take your friends with you.
Yes, don't go alone.
So regarding community and organizations, so please come to SONA events. That's what it's all about. Michelle Lewis and the whole SONA team are fighting the good fight for songwriters on Capitol Hill, but they're also bringing songwriters together so we can all learn from each other and adapt to the new music industry and everything it means for songwriters. SONA has picnics every year in Los Angeles and New York this year, and many other great events. You should come to the SONA Warrior Awards and see the wonderful artist Ray, you know, her song Escapism and that whole huge album. They're going to be honored. She's going to be honored this year amongst many other amazing songwriters on the 6th. This is kind of like the Oscars for songwriters. It's really wonderful. So BMI is who is my PRO. They collect for me. And let me tell you about networking. I personally have met many of my collaborators at the BMI Awards. For instance, I met BB Rexha in 2011 on the steps as I was leaving the BMI Awards. And we just said, let's work together. And then at the last BMI Awards in May, I think it was, I met this guy all day, Greg Hines. He wrote Flowers for Miley Cyrus, and he literally said, Lauren, I've been trying to get hold of you. Here's my number. Let's work. as I was leaving again, and we've been writing together just from that little encounter. So I think it's really great to go to these events, go to the SONA events. This is how you build your community. Go to BMI, ASCAP events in England, Ivan Novello's, just put yourself out there. There's nothing wrong with being informal too, when it comes to social media. You could hit up a star like Adele on a DM and she's probably won't answer, but who knows? You could just reach out to someone, on social media. If you're an artist sitting in Kansas, if you're a songwriter trying to make it, and you hit up someone else who's a singer that you think is great and say, hey, I'm looking for artists to collaborate with who might be looking for songwriting collaborations. Would you be interested in working over Zoom? So it doesn't matter if you get 99 no's, because you're really just looking for one yes. And that's how I've lived my whole career, is ask, why not? And literally blanket bomb, send out 100 messages on Instagram and TikTok to people, and someone's going to answer. And this is just literally, when I look back on my career, someone answered, someone saw a little something in me. And I didn't have any help. My dad was a furniture salesman. It's like I didn't have any help getting into this business. You just make those little connections.
I think, could I say something? Sorry.
Please.
I think that we're so lucky to have Instagram and social media, because I'll listen to a song and I'm like, oh my God, the song's so great. I wonder who wrote on it, and I wonder who produced it. And I'll just look it up, and then I'll see who did it. And then I'll just look them up on Instagram, and then we'll follow each other. I'll follow them and they'll follow me back. And then I can talk to them. It's so easy to get in touch with really fucking cool people if you're just willing to put yourself out there and you're just not embarrassed.
Yeah, and let's give an example of that. You guys hit up Jake, JVKE. He's the artist who has the song The Golden Now. It's really beautiful. And so you hit him up, he didn't reply, but then your management managed to get you in touch with his management and get you on the tour. And he wasn't sure, who he was taking on tour, but I believe that little DM from you guys saying we're such big fans and we would love to work with you is what helped make that happen. So again, that thing where he never replied, but down the line, it was worth it. Guys, I want to let you know something. I am teaching a songwriting masterclass twice a year, and it's a group masterclass on Zoom live. And I have given 2 scholarship spots to SONA to hand out to their members, to each of the classes. So it happens twice a year. The next one is October 5th at 12 noon PST, Pacific Standard Time, LA. And so we have people from Australia, people from London on the class, and it's really fun. And one lucky person wins a home recording studio, and we send you a special video of exactly how to set it up and how to record, so you can become a record producer. SkyeChristy, thank you so much. As we close, I have a few questions to ask each one of you, and take your time, slow down, because we're ahead of schedule. I told you we're fast talkers.
We're a little chatty thing.
We're fast talkers. We've got another 20 minutes, so let's yak. What song do you wish you wrote?
Oh, I wish I wrote Somebody I Used to Know.
Go Tie, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that song is so great.
Yeah.
I think I wish I wrote Paper Bag by Fiona Apple.
Oh my God. You know what? I have to go and listen. I'm not familiar with that song. Is it?
Yeah, it's great. It's really good.
Okay. And what is it about those songs? Is there anything particular you just love about it? Is it the production, Sophie, on the Go Tai song, or is it just the whole?
You know what it is, honestly, if I'm being absolutely honest. I remember when I was younger and you, just we were always in the music and you were always in the music, and it's always what we were talking about, thinking about. And I remember you said once when I was really young that you wish you'd written Somebody That I Used to Know. And I just, because you had said that, I believe you're so talented. And I was like, if she thinks that that's a song she wished she had written, that is an incredible song. And so then I would listen to it all the time and I fell in love with it. And then it became a song that I wish I had written. And so, as everything else, I'm always
I love anything quirky. So that's so nice that you remember that for me. I have about 10 songs that I wish I'd written. And Georgia, what is it you love so much about the Fiona Apple song?
Honestly, I've just been in the car for the past like month playing that song like every day.
Really?
And I just really love it. Fiona Apple is just fucking like sick. Like like her presence, like just her personality, her music, she's really cool. And I just want to be her all around.
She stays so true to herself.
Yes. Yeah.
And doesn't give any fucks. She's really cool.
Yeah.
That's all. Yeah.
Okay, next question. Who is your favorite songwriter?
Well, I have to think really hard about
Let's think about it. It's you.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
Mother. I mean, she's our favorite.
I'm incredibly flattered, but that's very sweet of you.
Absolutely true.
I mean, I actually yesterday I played I'm With You on my like speaker and I was just like, Jesus, this is
Like,
really
damn, that's
good.
good.
Because it is amazing. And that song always makes me emotional too with the violins and everything. And then I know like my dad's playing guitar on it and it like pulls at my heartstrings for some like not for some reason, obviously, like, but really y'all are some
It's
talent.
my favorite song I've ever written, actually. And like today I put my version out if anyone's interested. I'm doing it as a labor of love. This is my fun project. I have a project called Their Hits My Way, and I'm releasing every one of my hits that I've ever been blessed to collaborate on. I have done my own reimagined versions, and I drop one every 5 weeks. And
It's so good.
This is the 6th one. It comes out tonight. I'm With You, my summer version. Comes out tonight. Yeah, on all platforms.
Do backup vocals if anyone was wondering.
Yeah, it's Christy on the whole album. The album's going to come out like March next year, the entire album, but it's my labor of love. I love it. I also think that you guys were very inspired by the Eagles. Do you remember like during the lockdown and we watched the documentary of the Eagles, and that's when you kind of went, fuck, we want to be like Glenn Frey and Don Henley.
Yeah. So, well, okay. Sophie and I, during the pandemic, we really wanted to romanticize Los Angeles, like, and like where we lived, and we were losing our shit during the pandemic, like being locked up. And so we would drive through Laurel Canyon and learn all the harmonies to all the Eagles songs over and over again until we sounded damn near like the Eagles.
You did a good job.
Yeah, and also, we got really
I remember you in the garage, and you were playing bass, Georgia, and Sophie playing.
I know. Yeah, it was really. I mean, we like really appreciated nature, life, music during that time, and it really opened a door for us. And now we can't stop singing the harmony to where a point it's like annoying. Like sometimes, like I'll be like, Sophie, we need to just sing like someone needs to sing lead, and that's it because.
I feel bad for our friends in the car.
Yeah, someone's always breaking out into harmony.
Yeah.
But you know what was so funny about you two? This kind of music, but you guys, because until the pandemic, had been very separate as sisters. Like, 19 months older. So you had all your friends at school. You were the year above Sophie. Sophie even said to me the other day, Georgia was the popular girl, right? She wasn't a mean girl. She was the popular kind of girl. And then suddenly during the pandemic, they were forced to be together. And so you kind of were forced to become best friends. And Sophie, you said to me, it was like, wow, I get to hang out with the cool girl now. And it's ever since.
We always, I mean more like at school, like when Georgia and I would like hang out more at school and like other people would see that, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm hanging out with the popular.
I think we always like Sophie and I always loved hanging out with each other like one-on-one, but we never commingled friends, and so we never got like really, really close until the pandemic when I was like, actually,
You're my best friend.
You're my best friend. And I have no one else right now, so you're gonna be my best friend.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Anyway, I loved it. And then to hear you do music together, like folks out there, it was like it brought tears to my eyes, literally, to see them be so close. And it's just amazing. So guys, who is your dream co-write?
Oh, you can answer for us, Sophie.
I would say, if we're talking dreams, Phineas and Billie Eilish. I know.
We know they're very tight.
Yeah.
But we're a sibling duo.
I think that's what it is that like I understand like the tightness sibling duo thing.
And the like, magic that comes with
that.
Yeah.
Not saying that we're not boasting that we're magical,
but
it feels magical.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Anybody else?
Kid Harpoon as well.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Well, you're going to London, you're going to be spending time in London in January. Hey, Kid Harpoon. He's amazing for sure. Well, next question. What are 3 of your writing in studio must-haves?
Okay, well, first off, I'm a migraine girly at heart. So I need Advil, good vibes, and food. We need and always water. Lunch. That's 4. Yeah. But yeah.
Take a packed lunch. You don't just Postmate or
okay. We try and not Postmates because I'm not trying to be naughty, but so I'll sometimes pack. I'm usually the mother when mother is not around.
Oh yeah,
and I will pack Sophie's lunch for her and be the responsible one. Yeah, but if not, we are Postmating.
Yeah,
because it's like you show up at it's weird how sessions start at like lunchtime, and you don't want to just walk into the new date, right, and say like, watch me just power down this sandwich in
watch
front
me
of
eat this burrito real quick.
Yeah, it's normally like around about you have a little breakfast at 11, and then about 4 o'clock you have to eat. Your brain stops working, and you will get a migraine if you're working hard on writing lyrics and vocals. And
I get angry. I get hangry.
Same here.
Yeah, and I'm pissed, and things aren't going my way unless there's food.
No, right. Sure. So pack that lunch.
Yes, pack that lunch. Exactly.
Pack that lunch. And my 3 studio things. Yours were like good vibes, Advil, and what was the last one?
And a packed lunch.
I'm gonna be like the packed lunch, good vibes, and some really good weed. That always. SkyeChristy, what is one of your current music-based goals?
God, we would love to get on another tour. George and I think the thing that we love most about music is performing. Like we get, sure you get nervous right before the performance, but when George and I are on stage, like when we get off, it's kind of like you're like, oh, put me back up there. Like it's just so fun. And like when you really feel like you're connecting with people, like you can tell when you're connecting with people and when you're not.
Yeah.
You can tell.
And and I've been at all of your shows selling t-shirts.
Yes, Momager was working hard.
Yeah.
Literally. And I have to say that because I'm someone who's always had big problems with like nerves to get up on like a big stage. I've done it a lot, but it was always nerve-wracking for me. And there's just something amazing when I watch the 2 of you just strutting out in front of like 1,000 people in that church in London when you opened for Manchester Orchestra, and you're so confident. And then the audience, it was one of those audiences where you can hear like a pin drop. And how are they going to do this? And they wouldn't let you have any of your musicians with you. Your band. So it was just you, Sophie, playing guitar, and you 2 singing together. And I was just like so proud of you, of how you held the room. Like you just really mesmerized everybody. And I was just like, how did they learn this? Do you think that maybe that came from being an ensemble choir and singing at Carnegie Hall? Like you had some like really scary things that you did so that you can overcome your fear?
I think that, yes.
I've never thought about
that. But I think that.
Why are you not nervous?
I think the reason why we're not nervous, I have a good reason.
What's the reason?
Let me tell you.
Okay.
George and I played at like dive bars for a really long time, and there are people who want a reason to laugh at you at a dive bar. They're like, please be bad so I can laugh at you because it would make this night enjoyable. So it's literally like it's so like George and I have been booed at a performance.
Assholes. Really?
And there was like nearly like a fight, like a fist fight at the bar. It gets it.
They're like, sing a happy song. And we're like,
Yeah.
sorry, we're depressed and we don't have
Yeah.
a happy song. But that's not, I mean, okay, that's your reason.
Oh, okay.
My reason why I'm not nervous, I would be shitting myself if I was alone on that stage.
Oh, that's valid.
I have my little buddy Sophie, and if I just look at her and I'm like, we got this. I always do this on the stage, like, and it means like stay tight, be one, and like, and I know, isn't that cute?
I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, but I always do that because I'm like, just focus on like blending. This means blending for us. And so I do that, and like I look at her, and whenever I'm a little shaky, if I just look at her, it does not matter who is there, how many people are there. Like we've done the national anthem at the Clippers game, and I was like, let's just look at each other, girl. We are just in the room together.
Yeah, it's
I think like walking towards like a stage, like when you did the Clippers game, and I see you like holding hands because you're so tight, and then I saw you like in the dark before the lights went up at in this huge event at the Skirball Center that you did, and I saw you hold each other's hand and like say your like little prayers to each other, and I was just like, these guys are beasts. They like your dad has that. Their dad is like an amazing bass player, and he was my partner in the Matrix. We did all the Avril Lavigne records together. We worked for 10 years together. And Graham had like this thing where he had no fear of walking up on stage. And that's not my genetics, that's his.
It's the word that's so terrifying, but literally right when I walk up the stairs to the stage, I'm like, okay, we're chilling. It's fine. We've already done the worst part, which is walking up and like act and being a little bit awkward until the music starts. And then when the music starts, I'm like, well, we're already in it. Can't be nervous now.
Yeah. And you actually taught me something, Sophie. In January, I did the Jesse and Friends show, which I just love doing. And I sung like you sung with me and Benj and Lil Wolf. And it was probably like the most fun thing I've ever done performance-wise, you know? And I remember calling you Sophie earlier in the day, and I said, I feel like fucking sick. I'm going to throw up. I feel so nervous. And you said to me, well, you can either spend the whole day miserable and nervous, and it's just a waste of day, or you can just reframe it as being excited and be excited all day. And I did it. I just went, I'm just going to be excited. And I literally just flipped my mind mentally to not being horribly nervous and just being positive. I think I learned that from you, and it's just wonderful to see you out there. And I know that's really your passion, is like all the hard slog in the studio and the traveling. I mean, the traveling on touring is intense, but it's worth it when I see you guys up there and in your element. And my wish for you is that you get to perform live for the rest of your lives and get to do music for the rest of your lives, because I know that you're really in it for the love of the music. And to all the songwriters out there, I feel like if you just do music for the love, it really will pay off. So we are just about at an hour, up to our hour, and I want to say like thank you again for joining us, and SkyeChristy, my daughters.
Thank you for having us.
The replay will be available on the SONA YouTube channel. I believe Jake has placed the link in the chat along with our website and all socials. And if you're not already a member, please consider joining SONA. As I say, it's the closest thing to a songwriters union that we have, and I'm just so grateful to SONA for the amazing work they're doing. Remember, you don't have to be a songwriter to be a member. You can support songwriters. SkyeChristy, any final thoughts from you and for your audience? And let's just say you're at SkyeChristy the band on all socials, and that's SkyeChristy, and there's EP The Summer I Lost My Lover. Their first EP is out and been doing great. And their next single is called Boy Sober, and it comes out September 20th, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And that's the first single off their EP, which will be coming out early next year, 2025. So SkyeChristy, any final thoughts from you for our audience?
I think that George and I are extremely lucky to have been raised by our mother, because she's always taught us that we can make our own dreams come true if we work hard enough. And I think that everyone should know that their dreams aren't silly or unrealistic. I think that anything is possible. So keep believing in yourself and keep making your music. Yes. And we're also so grateful for the people at SONA who are fighting for songwriters' rights. And
yes,
please join, please.
Yes, because writers are really the most important part of the music industry. They are the music industry. So
yeah.
Without songwriters, there's no recording engineer, recording studio, mixing, mastering engineer, A&R men, record labels. Without a song, hello,
right? Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And we'll see you guys at the Warrior Awards on October 6th, and we're going to be on the red carpet, and we might be doing a little performance. So we'll see about
that. And do you have like a favorite like slogan that you use in the music business?
Yes, you know,
Something that inspires you.
You would always tell us this, and you were told this by Tom Vickers, your A&R, and he's the one who brought my mother to LA. And so George and I would have been little British babies if he had
yeah, he was my A&R man at Mercury Records, and literally Ed Eckstein and Tom Vickers brought me over to LA. So I'm always like shouting them out as like, my God, without them. And Donna Kassane and Golna Khodrashahi at Reservoir, my partners in crime, guys. And SONA, so proud to be a board member. So Tom Vickers, back to Tom Vickers, what did he say?
He said that look after music and music will look after you. And I think you've always lived by those words, and it's always worked for you. And so we try and live by those words.
That's so true. If you just work on your craft a little bit every week, not even every day, but you just keep polishing and sharpening your pencil, good things will happen. And if you look after music, music will look after you. And I really pray that for you girls and everybody here who wants to have a life in music. And okay, with that, a final thanks for joining SONA's In the Room with series. I'm Lauren Christy, and this is SkyeChristy, and we hope you have a wonderful day. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.